All right, bam. So it's me, Love More here. Um, Today I woke up is like what January 21st, something like that. 2022. What I'm doing is just documenting, being very vulnerable with trying to make sure I got a cool enough aesthetic, and making sure my technology is right to the point to where you can at least hear me clearly. Um, and just operating in alignment. But what kind of made me want to do this video here is just being inspired. I've been seeing a lot of people on YouTube, like I don't know if it's the algorithm or I see it as the divinity of like me seeing these different influencers and just people, just these different spirits on their journey that's just inspiring me. They having a glow up, or even if it's like certain things that I see they talking about, and I'm just like, you know what, I could want to interject and put this energy in there. It's like, okay, this is my turn to put my message or my perspective and my experiences in the whole mix of things. So the way that I'm putting it together here, instead of me just going off the rib and just saying anything, I want to be vulnerable and raw, but at the same time, I want to be precise and come with a direct message. So I'm not just, so we can have some clarity and some structure to our free form. So that's, mastering the masculine and feminine, masculine straight lines, feminine curve, so, and they all come together. So I have three topics here that I want to speak on. This first topic is going to be about the spiritual awakening. A lot of people have been waking up, that's what we call it, spiritual awakening in this world. Maybe feel like the Matrix and things like that. Feel like, okay, I need to really be conscious of what I'm doing in this world instead of just going with the flow, like realizing that, hey, maybe I have something to do with the flow. Spiritual journey. So now once you have this awakening, you got to get on this journey. And then the last one is changing the narrative. So that's the things I'm going to speak on right now. And here we go. All right, so in spiritual awakening, I have the times we're in right now. So the times we're in right now is really like, time is a construct. Time is something that's just in our mind. I remember when I was younger, I'm from Acorn, West Oakland. That's in California. That's where I was spawned up in this in this realm on Earth, and just being young outside. I remember the first time I seen the sun come up. Like my parents, let's say parents and family was self-medicating, drinking, doing their thing, just being adults. And I grew up in a time where it was like kids stay in the kids' place. So all the parents would be inside the house, and then me and all most of my cousins would be outside, just doing us, playing little games, throwing rocks at each other, tag, doorbell ditch, whatever. We just in the neighborhood, just being young kids in this world. And that was the first time I saw the sun. We stayed out so late that I saw the sun come up. And I always watched the sun go down, but I never watched the sun come up. And it kind of changed my mentality about life. I'm like, okay, time, like, what time is it? That was the first time I got kind of introduced to that concept, like, okay. But as I got older, I recognized, like, time is just a thing. It's a dimension that helps us identify this realm where, time is really nighttime is basically the sun is over there, or we are just moving and it's just motion. Nothing is actually happening besides motion. So if I move from here to here, that, the time of it being right here versus the time of it being right here is what we consider the time of motion, things relative to where everything else is with each other. So time is like what we define, and just that within itself and us getting kind of an understanding of that has an effect on the parameters of how we experience this realm. So right now we've built these structures and these systems that don't kind of fit into this construct of these parameters that we've made. So we like, okay, we basically outgrowing our fish tank. We put these, like our house, we put these barriers around ourselves to protect ourselves, but at the same time we're getting too big for that space and we need to expand. So that's basically what's going on right now. We are expanding our consciousness, and our way of living is expanding, and that's why we feel so tight and trapped in this system that I'm grateful for, because we are all together like this. We are all one species. So I don't see it as like this side versus that side. It's just like we fight ourselves, just period, like just your own individual self. We may have things that we like fight and doubt ourselves, and we do that with our reflections to mean the other people in this world. So those are some of the things that's the blockage. The things that's blocking us are these ideas and these concepts of ways that we've survived before. These are ways we got our needs met before, and they always worked for so long. Capitalism has been the thing that gave us a lot of things. It's technology that I'm even sharing with you. It gave us a lot of things that we need, and it's like some people have taken a lot of risk and done a lot of things that say, hey, well, you get to benefit from all these things that you may judge me for. Like you may judge that I killed a lot of rats to try to figure out this makeup or whatever it is, or like medicine. Yeah, we killed a lot of other species to get this medicine, but we reap the benefits of that cruel act. And that's kind of where it's like, okay, that worked for a certain period of time. Now we waking up to where it's not working for us no more. We got to find an alternative. And so that's kind of what it is. We all want to be first. We want to be first. I want to be the first person to do this, first person to do that, because the system that we've created rewards you for being the first person to, I'm woke. I'm the wokest person. I want to tell everybody that I'm the wokest person. That's, we get rewarded in this realm and this system that we made to be first, to be the first one to do it. So a lot of times it's not correct. It's not like in alignment. It's just first. It's like if you have the first car that's like the worst car right now, just some beat up Honda or something. If nobody ever seen that and you pull up in that, everybody will be like, wow, like that's super dope. Like that's amazing. You have this, we in horses and you got a car. What is this thing? So of course it's going to make you feel like, you feel rewarded. Just like you could be in a spaceship, a beat up spaceship. And you're like, well, you could go to space in that. It's beat up, but it's the first one of its kind. And you get rewarded for that, But if we show a little bit more patience in this, with this world, we create systems that we have a little bit more patience, then we'll be able to make sure it's correct before we go forward, like instead of always having to feel like we first. So that's what we're doing, redefining that. And what makes it more challenging, the blockages, is thinking about love and fear. So that's what we move off. Fear, for me, is the opposite of love. It's not hate. These are the things that motivate us to move and get us in motion. We do things out of love. We get inspired. We do it out of love. Or we could do something out of envy, like, oh, I'm about to prove them wrong because I fear that somebody else is going to get some type of love or recognition, or I fear that people may not acknowledge me or give me credit. These are reasons why we move, is out of fear or out of love. And that is a very good way that I've learned how to navigate life, is to see like, okay, am I moving out of fear in this situation, or am I moving out of love? And when I move out of love, it's still challenging, it's still something. But at the same time, I know that love comes from love. And fear, moving out of fear, I'm in turn like attempting to practice loving on myself. I got so much fear that I don't want to get hurt. Like I don't want to, do this because I think that I'm going to get hurt. I fear that I'm going to get hurt, or I fear that an outcome won't be something that I want to experience. So I'm in turn kind of like practicing loving on myself to have that fear. But I've recognized for myself that fear is a thing that brings things to awareness. Like, oh, I'm aware of that now. Because if I didn't fear it, I wouldn't even acknowledge it. It's like when learning how to not cross people's boundaries, it's like, okay, I want to be my full self, but at the same time, being our full self may take away from somebody else. And that's like, I didn't know I was going to cross your boundary. I didn't intentionally try to cross your boundary, but I had to cross your boundary to know that was a boundary. And you had to express it, so I know I crossed your boundary. That's kind of what fear is to ourselves. All our emotions, they bring some awareness to something that we have to kind of acknowledge and have some gratitude, or we could do whatever we want with it. You could feel however you want to feel about your own feelings, or respond to them however you want to. But the thing that's giving us the most peace, which I think is the most, I think that peace is the goal. We're here in this realm to obtain peace. We want to experience this life and have these life experiences, but we're kind of redefining our spirit to be qualified for this next moment in our journey and the grand scheme of things with our spirit. So something that helps with knowing about love and fear, what it does is give us discernment. So discernment It's being able to identify things like the serenity prayer, like recognizing when you have the power to change something, or when you just have the power to accept something for what it is, and knowing the difference between, oh, I can affect this and change this, or I have to accept this for being what it is, because this is a basic structure of this realm. So I think those are things that's kind of challenging sometimes, is to have that discernment, and going inward to ourselves kind of helps us. Having that understanding with ourselves and taking that time to see ourselves helps us with that discernment. So, like pride and ego, that's very similar, but it's like, okay, which one of these things, pride and ego, which one is which? Which is the discernment in that situation? So how I can identify how that discernment is, am I moving out of love or am I moving out of fear? You see what I mean? And that breaks it down to make it it's a complex simplicity, where it's like, okay, am I anxious? Am I anxious about something? Do I have anxiety about something? Or am I just excited about it? Being excited about it is, you love to experience it. I can't wait to experience this. I'm so excited. But when you have anxiety, it's like, I fear whatever's about to happen. I don't know what's going to happen, but I fear it. So that's where it's at, like just having that discernment. And so with kind of getting to this space where you're confused, you run into walls, you're like, dang, I can't use the same tricks or the same survival tactics that I've used before. I ran into this wall, like I'm blocked. I have blockage here. And that's what kind of starts you on your spiritual journey. You get on the spiritual journey, and a lot of things that happen when you start your spiritual journey, or for me, when I started my spiritual journey, let me speak to that, it's a lot of fasting. So when I look at fasting, I think, what is the difference between fasting and starving? It's basically the same thing, but it's that fear of love. And with starving is like, you are hungry, just like if you were just fasting, but when you're starving, you are not resourceful. You don't have the capability to actually feed yourself. So you're like, dang, I'm starving and I don't know when my next meal's coming. And it puts you in a different mentality. So it amplifies fear and non-ability and things of that nature. But when fasting comes to, when you're fasting, that means that you can get some food. You have the ability to get food. And usually when you can get food, we overeat or we overdo it. We do it excessively, not just with abundance, but we excessively do it. And in that moment, fasting is important, because now you go without. You're like, oh, I can have it, but I'm choosing to go without. And that's a different mentality. That gives me more power when you go into that. And the lessons that you learn within that are pure. And I think that is love when we choose to fast versus we get thrusted or less like pushed into fasting, is because like, it's like you twist your ankle or something and now you're fasting from walking. You can't walk right now, so it forced you to do that. So now what happens when you can't walk? You kind of just appreciate, like, man, when you actually heal back and you could walk again, you're like, wow, I just appreciate the fact that I could walk. But if you never, sometimes we lose that appreciation and that gratitude for just the air that we breathe, or, because we get so caught up in the monetization of things, or just these systems that we've created aren't assisting us in remaining in that gratitude, so because the systems that we have now kind of have shown us our shape-shifting abilities. Like, so I look at it like when we want to get a job, I want to work at Home Depot in the paint department. I don't know nothing about paint or none of that, you know what I mean? But I could learn, but when we go there to the job, we're going to be on our best behavior and say, okay, I want to present myself in a way that I feel like they will accept me. That's shape-shifting. I'm using my ability to shape-shift into what I feel like will be accepted to get me this job. And that's fear. You fear that you won't get the job. So you choose to shapeshift. But sometimes if you go out of love, it's like, okay, let me present myself. Maybe I don't know nothing about paint, but let me shapeshift myself into a space to where I am open. I'm open. I really want to know. I really have this on my heart that I really want to know about this, to be able to execute this job and serve my purpose and learn my lessons along the way. You know, now I can have discernment between, oh, that's not white, that's eggshell. You feel me? You know, now you got a little, you know what I'm saying? You got a little something to you. So you learn some new skills, you know, learn some new things. So, yeah, just to bring it back to fasting, that's the thing. You know, you could get pushed into something and not, and you feel like, you know, I was forced to learn this lesson versus fasting. You know, that's starving. You twist your ankle, that's like starving. Like, dang, I can't walk even if I wanted to. But when you just choose to fast, you know, you take over the power. Life is not happening to you, you're happening to life. So fasting, what we do is like with, I want to say just your ankle and stuff like that and just walking and stuff, because I want to expand the consciousness of just what we think fasting is. Because a lot of times we think fasting is just food. And that is a super great way, because, you know, you are what you eat. It's a term that we say. And fasting is like fasting from food. You do learn a lot about yourself, your body, and what it's craving, and your conscious mind and subconscious mind. I'll just say dive into it. You know, I want to speak to the people that may be fresh into this, but then at the same time, people that may be a little advanced. Like, this is a kind of in general conversation. So fasting, you can do that from social media, from just interacting with so many other people. You just take some time to find some serenity with yourself or commune with nature. It's so many ways you could fast. From porn, you know, those are things that I had to do. You know, fasting from social media, porn, all these things, because these are things that are ultimately distractions for me on my spiritual journey. That's what they were. And that's when from going from fasting and knowing that I didn't have this discipline. Okay, so discipline, we do have discipline. Everybody has discipline in certain ways. But it can become challenging to be disciplined if you are unhealed. You are wounded. You know, it's hard to be, you know, if it's hard to like say I want to eat better foods when you like, man, I'm poor, I don't have it. I have to take whatever I can, my ankle twisted, and I just got to grab this, you know, whatever is around, you know, like I'm in, like, think of yourself being in a cave back by yourself and nobody helping you and your ankle twisted. There's nothing you could do. So you feel, I had to just take what I can take right now. That's what the importance of healing is, because once you heal, now you feel the ability to just expand past what is happening to you, versus you can choose to interact with your environment and see what's going on out here. So that's the power of healing for me. Like I had to go on this healing journey where I was hitting these walls. I'm like, I heal myself, and I take a lot of time myself to like just work on myself. But that was like brushing my teeth. I brush my teeth all the time, but once I got a cavity, I gotta go to the dentist, because that's the only way it's gonna help. That doesn't mean I stop working myself and doing it for myself and brushing my own teeth, but simultaneously with brushing my teeth and getting help from a dentist together is what's going to give me the ultimate healing. So I did that. I went to this thing called CODA. I was searching up things for CODA, for codependencies and narcissists, and CODA came up, and it's something free that you could do. Just, you probably pay dues like maybe $2 a meeting or something like that, and nobody pressuring you to do it. But CODA is for codependency, and this is a group therapy. And we kind of dove into like resentment and childhood traumas and just sexuality and just fear and all these different topics that helped. And there's other people that's in that same bracket. So people that feel like they don't got enough money, you could try coda.org. So that's CODA.org, and find a meeting near you, or even do it on Zoom meetings and stuff like that. But it's a community of people that's dedicated to healing, and that will give you that support that you may need, and it's basically free. So yeah, that's a resource, and that leads me to connecting. So that's what it is. From healing, it helps you to connect. So when connecting with people, I've learned for myself, is like, well, before I was more getting healed, my discernment was off. It was hard to have discernment, because let's say somebody wanted to come in and give me a hug. I might have been so used to people trying to get over on me that I'm like, what you doing? You trying to attack me? Hold on. And it's like, yeah, I want to trust my feelings and my instincts and my intuition that, I got to protect myself. But the reality literally was this person is just coming to give me a hug, but I was seeing it for something else. And that's why I need to heal from my past experiences so that I can see and have discernment going forward. And that's what helped me. So now it's like, oh, okay, they're coming to give me a hug. I could just set a boundary and be like, no, I don't really want a hug right now. I'm not open to that. Or I could just be like, receive that and learn how to receive that through healing. And like, okay, this is what's happening. So that helps you with the discernment. That's the power of healing. So, on this journey for me, I had to connect with myself and I had to tap in. So tap in with yourself, tap inward. We always want to tap in. Hey man, tap in with me, tap in. But it's like, no, tap in. We need to tap in. And the power of tapping in for myself has been when I tap in with myself and I see the things within myself, I can be very familiar with them. So then when I see these things outside of myself, my discernment is like instant, and I'm just like, oh, okay, that is very reflective of something I'm tapped in with myself. So I see it outside of myself, just like this mirror or just like the screen. So that's the power of tapping in. And when you tap in, it helped me tap in with God. Like tap in with God, or what the concept of God is. And it's basically just the source energy, the source where we all come from. Where all this like. I've learned to tap in with the creator, not the created. Like I do still tap in with the creations, like this microphone or the other things like that, or these words that I'm making. But at the same time, I want to go to the source so I get the purest version of it. I don't want the watered down version of it from the gate, because I would think that that's the thing. Like I said, that beat up car, that's beat up spaceship. I would think that that's the ultimate thing, but it's like, no, this is not it in its purest form. When I experience things in its purest form, it makes me see where it came from, just like history. Like when I see where it came from, then I know where it's going, and I could see, oh, okay, I see how it evolved from there. And because it could be completely different by the time it goes down the chain, like the game of telephone, somebody whispering this person ear, and it changes. It's like evolution with like a caterpillar. It started off a caterpillar, but then it went a cocoon and turned to a butterfly. It's a completely different thing now. So it's just like I need to go to the source to recognize, oh wow, I see the journey. So that's the importance of it. And the next thing is, I'll say, 2-dimensional relationships. That means that one dimension is yourself and then with someone else. So then from there, like I said, somebody may try to come give me a hug or and I'm seeing it something like, oh, you trying to choke me out. You trying to do me wrong. Once I healed, it helps with those connections that I could have this discernment, and I could I could move out of love more than fear, and have more fluid connections with others. And prioritize my peace. And then I'm like, okay, if I see this other person is in that same space and working just like how I'm working, then there won't be this imbalance. And when I do even if it is an imbalance, I'm aware and I'm conscious that, okay, this is maybe my moment to, pour into this other thing, like mycelium network of plants. I could pour into the other beings around me, because I have this excess of love and energy and positivity, and I won't feel like I'm depleted because I'm giving to others. So that's like someone homeless. You give them something. I'm not expecting them to do nothing back or nothing like that. It's just off the pure love. Like I do it out of love, And I think some of the blockages that stopped me was the system, feeling like, man, this person getting over on me, trying to take my money, trying to take my resource, trying to shape shift in a negative way to fool me. And I had to just learn how to just give out of love. Like, it's all love. Like, hey, it's not on me. I give it to God after that. If you did me wrong, that you didn't do me wrong. You were attempting to do me wrong, and that was just on you. And I got so much love and abundance myself that it's just like, man, it's sad that you feel that you got to do that. And the next thing after that is your community. Now we connect with a bigger network of people. And once we connect with your community, that's common unity. We have a common unity. We have a common thing that we have, whether it's a sports community, artist community, a business community. It's a community that we have a common unity of something that we tap in with. And it's going to be beautiful to have other people in this community not operating from fear, feeling like, just with the capitalism systems. That's kind of what we on. The next thing is changing the narrative. So the narrative is basically a great way to think of the narrative is like it's basketball, sports. They paint the narrative. They say, okay, like this season, this year, like Draymond Green hit Jordan Poole. Let's say that, and now this narrative. Can they get back to the championship? You know, did that mess up the team? Like this narrative that's out there. Not saying that that's the reality of what's going on, because we just from the outside looking in. We don't talk to the team. We don't talk to none of these people. But the media creates a narrative, so it gives us this storyline along with the reality of just them playing the game. And I think that that's what we're doing. We're getting more in control of our own narrative, just like all media has been curving our perspectives of the world based on the system to get more money and more clicks and more, it's we've been moving out of that fear. But now we are awakened to that and having more outlets, just like me speaking this on some media. It could spread through the world, if, people connect with it. And at the same time, just even like the players in the world, people in the world we have more access to people creating a narrative. And there's so many different narratives out there that we don't know which one to follow. And that's why it's important to have that understanding with ourselves so that we can follow that path of discernment and move out of love, because that's like in the valley of the shadow of death, you fear no evil. Like when I think of that term, I think it was just you going straight on this one path and it's just all these distractions coming around you, like trying to distract you. But it's like, oh, okay, I see the path clear. I just need to stick on the path and not turn my head left or right. I just need to really look straight and stick and be disciplined to go forward. So when it comes to the narrative, you have words. Words are spells. So if you haven't heard that yet, words are spells. I mean, we're spelling. We're becoming more conscious with our words and our spell and our words. So I think a good example is like the movie. It had it's like the multiverse with Spider-Man and Doctor Strange. That was a good example. If you haven't seen that movie, you should watch it, because this is a way that you can see like the importance of writing your spells correctly. And basically in that movie, Doctor Strange is actually writing a spell for Peter Parker, which is Spider-Man, to like change his reality to help him out. But basically they're adding so much stuff into it, and it threw off the spell. Basically the reality that comes doesn't work or doesn't turn out how they wanted to, because they said or didn't say the right things to like be very detail oriented when it came to writing your spells. So that's kind of what we need when it comes to visualizing and actualizing things is that being very detail oriented, the things you want, like a genie, praying to God's like it's like ask for wish for a genie sometimes. It's like you might say, all right, I wish that I'm the biggest person out here. And then the genie just makes you tall into a giant. And it's like you are the biggest person out here now, but in your mind you're saying like you want to be a super megastar, a millionaire or something like that. So that's why it's important to be detail oriented, because our words are the spells, and that's what it is with creating a narrative. That's what we're going to need to like shapeshift this world. Another powerful example of that is Martin Luther King, when he said, I have a dream. So he dreamed up this world where, racism and, all this hatred and all that wasn't existing so prevalently, and it was more people connecting with each other, showing love and all those type of things. And he didn't get to see that happen, but he put that idea in so many people's mind that we could see it, and we started acting on it, and we're getting closer and closer to that Martin Luther King dream, where the sons of former slaves and sons of former slaves owners are sitting at the same table of brotherhood. It's been happening. So that's what's important. And when writing these spells is to have discipline. Being disciplined is what it's going to take to be able to do these things, and consistency. So discipline and patience and urgency. So patience is being patient. We have to just, once you plant a seed, that seed is in the ground, and just in the systems that we created now, we try to put Miracle Grow on it. But we see what happens when you Miracle Grow things, that once you eat it, the plant don't even have seeds in it. We genetically modified it, so it's not even giving us the same nutrients as it was before. So it's important to be patient with the process and just put that seed in there and just, hey, once it grows, it grows. And be unselfish. Maybe in our lifetime we don't reap the benefits of that tree and get to the harvest, but our children and our next generations of our reflections will. And that's something that we learn through this journey of spirituality, to have that heart and have that patience and urgency. Maybe to, sometimes we be patient, like, I need to be urgent with this message. It was on my heart and on my spirit. So I was like, I could put it off till later, but I'm like, nah, let me do this right now. And so the one clip that you just seen right there was the actual camera cutting off. Maybe it's the time of the card or whatnot. Like, whatever it is, I'm going to take that as a, marker point to be like, I got through all the points that I wanted to make. If it's anything that I spoke on that you want to connect with me on or want to talk about, you can leave it in the comments. My Instagram, I'll leave it somewhere down there too. But at the same time, my Instagram is The Love More Show. And Love More spelled with 2 O's in love and 2 O's in more. So that's me, Love More, LOOVEMOORE. Trying to think of anything else. Yeah, that's basically that. Stay tuned for any more other videos that I do and I make. If it's any type of encouragement, like, oh, I like your communication style this way. If maybe you want to slow it down when you say these things or something like that, I'm open to that, to want to hear that and know that. That's something I could reflect on to make it, my information to translate through certain people. If you want to give me some encouragement and say like, man, I love how you spoke on that and spoke on those things, I want to do that too. I will receive that. That's personally what I'm working on in my journey in this moment. I'm putting myself in situations to be able to receive. I have to receive because I'm able to fluidly give love. That's something I'm able to do fluidly, and I want to be able to fluidly receive love in that same way. So I'm putting a lot of time and effort and energy and practicing in that. So just raising your awareness to that. And yeah, this is what it's on. We pimping positivity, man. That's what energy is on. We making positivity cool. Being positive in life has always kind of seemed like, from my experience, that people feel like, oh, you a saint or you judging people or because you positive. It's like you got to be on some. You ain't cool. It's not clean. It's not like, man, you just on some, you just judging me type vibe. You just think you better than somebody, and it's not that. It's just positive and negative. You need both of them. You need positive and negative to give a charge. It's like a battery. So it's just having balance between positive and negative. So that's what I'm on. That's my energy, man. Big love. It's A to the miggity. AMO, love more. And hey, always remember, they may do it to you, but don't do it to yourself. From love, miggity.